are the natural hustlers because they were the ones who maintained and sustained our families through epidemics. You're talking Big Mama went through slavery and held it. You're talking Big Mama went through the Depression and held it. Big Mama went through crack and held it.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show on BeExposedRadio.com. It's me, your host, Nate, here on this Saturday, brisk day. Today's topic is me, myself, and I. A couple years ago, I'll say about 2 years ago, and me coming into the radio show, my pastor told me it's time for you to take a selfish season. I always put myself in everybody else's line of work and helping others, and things kept on, the same thing kept happening. You know, the same patterns kept happening, and I had to discover what I wanted. And I ask a lot of people that question: what is it that you want outside of being an artist? Because we normally are artists for the benefit of giving what we have to other people. But what do you want for yourself outside of all the labels, husband, son, all those things? And having that selfish season really helps you to develop yourself as a person. And then it builds up your artistry, it builds up your business sense, your profession, all those things that go along with being who you are. But have you had that season yet? Or are you in that season? Or
I don't
looking forward to that season?
I don't, honestly, for me, I don't think that season will ever come for me. Just because the only reason why I've made it as far as I've made it is because God has humbled me. Right. So I would encourage anybody that's trying to grow to continue, you know, even when you have to get things done, or, you know, you're trying to hone into your craft, is to always sacrifice time, because that doesn't go unnoticed. And one thing that I've learned, like being, graduating college, there'll be times where I'm talking about, like, had to take some music theory tests, Randall Oliveira, my best friend in Florida, but we had to take some hard music tests, and the night before, I'm talking about random people in the hall just saying, man, I need help studying for this math or this whatever type of test, geometry or whatever it was, and I wasn't in that class, but I was good at math, so I was like, why am I the only one that's hearing this? It's like other people here and there's nobody helping, and I would sacrifice my time the night before. I did studying before that, but and I would help that person 2-3 hours the night before my important exam, and I would dedicate time to teach them what they need to know for their test. Right. And in return of that, I would always be like, man, like, I only have like an hour to really study and get some good sleep. And I would go to my room and I would study, and everything would just become so clear. And I would always kill the test. Always. And every time I had to do one of those, I end up sacrificing something every single time. So that taught me early. It's like, look, it's not about the amount of time you have or where you're spending it. It's about the effectiveness of how you use it. Right. So, like, now I'm married, I have a full-time job, but somehow I still have time to come to a radio station. And I never thought that would be possible. So I don't think, not to, just to be, generalize everything, but, I don't think there ever will be a me season. I can't claim that.
And see, not to cut you off, but, okay, that's what I'm doing. But, and I find that in my journey to being a Christian, we look at being selfish as a negative thing. And that when my pastor first said that to me, that's the first thing that I thought. I was like, but I'm supposed to be here to help other people. My viewpoint and my perspective in taking that me time is so you can be better at what you are and what you're supposed to be. I can't give you if my cup is empty. Right. And me sacrificing time for other people, ain't even for the things in life that I really need to do and really want to do, you still need that time to go into your space, into your corner. And you and your wife may pray together, but there are moments where you have to get on your own knees and pray for the things that you need in your life and you want in life. So taking that me time for me, it was a season because I was always looking through my eyes for other people. I never really focused on what I wanted for me, outside of being an artist, outside of being a man for others. I had to focus and rebuild my foundation. So a lot of people that I've spoken to, they have the same response that you have, because as a Christian, we got to be able to do everything. You can't. There's no room for error. There's no room for selfishness. There's no room for me, because your mission in life is to be for others, and in that whole scheme of things. But I added that as a topic today because in being a Christian-inspired artist, you find yourself giving a lot. And how do you replenish all that you've given out?
Well, I think, I ain't trying to take this thing spiritual, but I mean, I can only be genuine of, the truth. And the truth is, the way I replenish, man, is just really spending time in my word, spending time with the Lord. So it's not necessarily, you see what I'm saying? Even then, it's not even me time because I'm spending it with God. So, it's like, I rejuvenate by getting in his word and, fellowshipping with my church and going to church and things like that, to be in a body of members till we rejuvenate together and we replenish together. So, because if I'm working out of my own flesh, out of my own will, then necessarily there will be a me time because I'm doing this thing out of my will, so I'm going to have some type of ownership over what I'm doing. You see what I'm saying? But if I know that everything I'm doing is driven from a place of instruction or a guidance in some way of fashion from the Lord, then I know, like, okay, if the Lord's providing me the strength to do this, when I need that strength, I go to him for it. So it's almost a cycle of it's still going to someone else. Now, when you come to the actual tangible or the logical side of that, there's times, I agree, there is times where, I do take my days off, everybody days off, and I write, I write, I focus on my craft, right. But when it comes to an actual season, I can't say that I've had that. There's always breaks that everybody needs to recoup. But if you're not using it effectively, then you're gonna get burnt out. So, just for clarification on that question, I do agree with a me time when it comes to my craft, but.
Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange Live.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Starts now. Hey, what's up? What's up? Welcome to the Artist Exchange Radio. Here live only on theexposedradio.com. I am Nate, your host. Word for the day. Everything doesn't always happen the way you would want it to, but you definitely have to be prepared for anything. As an artist, as an entrepreneur, which is mainly the biggest topic that we discuss here on the show, you have to be able to roll with the punches. And I hope everyone that was listening heard that promo that was played, and I'm going to ask Eric to play that promo again at the next segment. And it's about when you are growing as an artist or entrepreneur, developing your business, your brand, your strategy, you have to have some me time. If you're giving everything that you have to everybody that is with you or around you or supposedly on your team or your family and friends, if you're giving everything that you have nothing to stand on, nothing to build on, nothing to sit in. And you have to have a good prayer life. You have to have a good set of patience because everybody around you ain't for you. And it could be frustrating at times where you feel like you're pulling, and everybody else is pushing against what you're pulling. I talk a lot about building your team and structuring who you are. And all those good things, but at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you. And sometimes that means cutting individuals out of the strategy, cutting yourself out of the strategy. Sometimes you got to take yourself away from the things that you're fighting hard for because it ain't always for you. I'm here to tell you that being an artist, you have to know how to do what it is that you're doing, even if that's not your specific job, because you got to be able to pick the right people to be on your team. This message is coming from just a place of being frustrated with my own decisions, frustrated with the grind of being an artist, frustrated in individuals' inability to see how they're destroying or making hard what it is that you have built or what you collectively have put together. It is very difficult to be an entrepreneur because most people see that word as an individual, as an entrepreneur. Know that it takes a team, whether it's the business owner and the clients, or the business owners and the employees, or the employees and the partner, whatever that configuration may be. You have to be able to put yourself in a space of being able to focus and be driven in who you are. Today we have a guest calling in. He should be calling in shortly. Mr. Scientific. He's a hip-hop artist from Africa. He's actually been able to come over right now. He's been circulating through the U.S. and making his mark and rebranding and repurposing and restructuring his brand as a hip-hop artist. And he'll be calling in shortly. And we have another young lady, Valeria Fuentes. She's a visual artist, so she'll be joining us shortly as well, later on. So definitely stay tuned, stay locked in for that. I need to really like repurpose myself. We got like less than a minute left, so I'm gonna read from our book, our magical book here that we have at the station. Streams in the Desert is 366 daily devotional readings. Today is November the 4th. A person who has experienced great difficulty will not be easily parted from his Bible. Another book may appear to others to be identical, but to him it is not the same. Over the old and tear-stained pages of his Bible, he has written a journal of his experiences in a word that are only visible in his eyes. Through those pages, he has time and again come to the pillars of the house of God and to Elm, where there were palm trees, Exodus 15, verse 27. And each of those pillars and trees have become a remembrance for him and some critical time in his life. Take that as you will, but I'll let you know this journey is yours. Don't expect things from other people. Don't allow people to expect things from you. Be who you are and allow people to be who they are. Make good decisions. Be patient in your decision making and just focus on your goals. Be helpful, be open, be available, but be focused on your goals. You have a purpose here. We've all been born with a purpose, and that purpose has to be fulfilled. So take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. Please take a couple moments to share this page out. Invite your friends to it. We're going to have a great show today, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Check out this flashback from Talk Lately with Monty only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at StopTextStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin' Street? Girlin' Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Check out this flashback of the Artist Exchange Radio Show on BeExposedRadio.com.
If you had a dream venue, where would that be? Like, some people want to do Carnegie Hall or like a big stadium somewhere.
I want to go with Madison Square. I wanna feel that building.
So you just want to shoot for the moon.
I want to feel it. I want to look out and just feel the vibration of all of those people there to be uplifted and all of that, because that's what I want to do for people.
So are you dancing? Or are you...
I want to implement that. I think I want to start doing some blocking. Like, not like, tear it up. But just like a
little 1-2.
Hell, a little, not voguing, but kind of the essence of it. Very posy and, hit the mark. Yeah, we're not trying to like bust out sweats.
So that's mean you don't have the dance gene and you.
I can dance.
Okay,
that's
not what I want to do.
I can dance, but I'm not, trying to give that. That's not my lane. I want to keep it really kind of a retro feel with like the new school with a retro feel. Like
okay. Little Banji Soul.
Yeah.
People gonna start using that.
Right. And they should.
Little Banji Soul. Yeah. But just mark it so people know, like, this was mine.
This where it came from. Because, people was queens out here now that was princesses last week. They was princesses before my album dropped. Now they queens.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. I am your host, Nate. We're here on this really unusually comfortable fall day. It's a really pretty day. The weather's been going in and out and up and down and all around and such. So we really have to be thankful that this weather is holding up. So today, our guest hasn't called in yet, so we're just expecting him maybe in the next segment. But like I said, lately I've been doing more prep work in terms of being a better artist and an entrepreneur in my pursuit to help others be better professional artists and allowing them to have a really great balance when it comes to their work and their art and the business of their work and their art. So what I'll say to you is take an opportunity to just go through your social media, specifically Facebook. Facebook has a lot of groups and a lot of groups and a lot of pages, organizations on there, and programs that allow you to learn what it is that you want to do. And I know often it is really difficult and somewhat boring to sit in a lot of these meetings, but chances are the overall theme or message in that meeting may not necessarily speak to you, but there may be a question that's asked or a topic that's brought up based on the overall theme or purpose of that meeting that could help you, that could benefit you. It may be someone there that you could partner with or learn from or grow with in that meeting. So it will behoove you.
Check out what you missed on Be Exposed Radio.
Are you getting your kid?
What is that? Just like when we are at a regular 9-to-5 and there are built-in structures that you have to learn certain things to get to a certain level, or raises, or certain things, certain workshops, certain programs that you have to be a part of or visit, or whatever modules, all those things. When you're building your own practice, you have to do those same things for yourself. We have a phone call. Hello, how you doing? Thanks for calling the Artist Exchange.
Yeah, hello.
Who am I speaking to?
Scientific.
Hello?
Yeah, this is Scientific.
Hello?
Yeah, hello?
I don't think I can hear you. Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hold on 1 second. No, I think it's the mic. Hello?
Yeah, hello?
Hey, that's much better. Is this Scientific?
Yeah, this is Scientific.
How's it going today? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, how are you doing today?
Okay.
So, for everybody who doesn't know who you are, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? He hung up? Can you message him and just tell him to call back in? So that was Scientific. So we're going to try to get him back on the line. So hold on for one moment. This is difficult trying to do 5 different things at one time, but we're trying to get Scientific back on the line. So back to what I was saying. So as we're building our businesses, our brands, whether you're an artist or you're a plumber or whatever it may be, take some of those principles that you've adopted at other jobs and actually bring it over to where you are. Standards of practices, customer service, branding, marketing, advertising, all those things. So what you should have been doing while you were at those 9-to-5s, or while you're at those 9-to-5s, or what we call them benefactors, you should be looking at all the things that make up that business. You may not necessarily have that job yourself, but what you do have is the ability to be able to network with the people that are in certain, like the IT department or the human resource department, which is a good department to either work in or to talk about, because that's kind of the foundation of your business. Everything about your business that's on paper normally starts there. HR, human resources. So taking a moment to just learn, ask questions on your break. When you break in with the HR lady or the man, talk to them, ask them about certain things. Now they go ask questions as to why you want to know. You know, you're building or you're just learning. YouTube is an awesome platform to be able to type in exactly what you want, and you'll be able to scroll through and find at least 5 or 6 different videos, if not hundreds or more videos, to be able to hone in on those things that you want to do and you want to learn. Read a book. Do some research, some articles, trends. When it comes to having employees, there are a lot of things that you have to do correctly, or you'll be fined, or you'll be docked from the IRS in terms of paying people correctly, and filing the right paperwork, filing the right taxes. And I understand this is why a lot of people don't do things above the table, because there's a lot of things, and the government is really, they're not necessarily being nosy, but it's to protect you, it's to protect your employees, and really the government at the same time. But it's really ensuring that everything is running smoothly. There are laws to everything. So whenever you're going into business for yourself, take a moment, wherever you at, on your benefactor or your job, take some time to learn the business. It may not be what your passion is, but the fundamentals never change from business to business. Customer service, customer service at this job may mean doing these steps or doing these things for the customer, the client, or the employer. But if you translate that over here, it'll teach you how to treat your clients. It'll teach you how to treat the people that you're partnering with or doing business with. It'll teach you how to treat yourself. In payroll, just because you're the owner don't mean that you can't get paid. You may not necessarily be able to get paid as much as you would like to be paid as you grow your business. But you have to know how to pay yourself, because legally you have to pay yourself. you're technically your only employee. So when you're taking money to pay your BGE, that's kind of against, the practices, not necessarily the laws, but the practices of having your own business, because financially, that is the wrong thing to do, to just take money out of your business account and use it. Trust, I've made those mistakes because I saw it as they're all my accounts, so I can do that. But no, you have to pay yourself a wage so you're able to do the things on the other side and you're not stealing money from your company. And that sounds really harsh because you say this is my money, but no, it's not. It's your business's money. You have to separate yourself because you can get into a lot of financial and legal issues doing that, because then you owe so much more money. But we're going to take a quick break. We're going to try to get Mr. Scientific back on the phone. So don't go anywhere. Don't forget, share it out. Let people know what's going on. Invite them to the feed. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BigExposedRadio.com. After this commercial break.
Check out what you missed on Be Exposed Radio.
Are you getting your kids this hoverboard thing that's taken over the country? They range from $300 to $600. They're blowing up. And then I mean literally blowing up. That one video, I thought that was going to be the one and only video that I saw in reference to it, and it wasn't. Now I could probably tell you about 10 to 15 videos of this happening, where this battery gets super, super hot and burns like holes into your tennis shoes.
Oh my.
And I know you would be pissed if you was wearing Jordans and you just paid all that money, your lights are off. And
especially if they're from China.
Your lights off.
Check out the Talk Lately show every Tuesday nights from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. right here on Be Exposed
Jason,
Radio.
I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
My name is Ruth Rusi. I'm a retired teacher. I'm 91 years old, and this is how I live United. I say retired, but not really. Once a week, I read books to children as part of United Way's education program. Reading to a child creates links between language and literacy. It creates a bond between grown-up and child. And believe it or not, it prepares them for a better academic future. Oh, we read about frogs and flies.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Tell him call back. Yes, so 2 o'clock. So welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Here live on BigExposedRadio.com. We're working on getting Mr. Scientific back on the line. So real quick, if you're looking to be featured on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, to come on and tell your story, you can hit me up at the Artist Exchange Radio Show at gmail.com, or you could call us up directly at 443-839-0118, or you can just find me on Facebook at the Artist Exchange group page, or on our Facebook fan page for the Artist Exchange Radio Show. And send us a message, drop us a line, and let us know who you are. You can email us your bio, your press kit, your headshot, and stuff like that, and let us know who you are, links to your work, to your social media, so we can do some research, and then we'll send you out some dates. It's just that easy. If you are a business or artist or so on and so forth, and you're looking for some cost-effective ways to advertise your business or to promote who you are, hit us up also. We have some great packages, and we offer some wraparound services that'll help you better push your product and even get you on the right on the right page in terms of artist development. And almost building yourself up and knowing the things that you don't know, finding those things out. We kind of help you and navigate and point you in the right direction when it comes to building your brand. So, so I'll let our first guest now say your name again.
Valeria.
Valeria.
Yes.
Say it again one more time.
Valeria.
Valeria. Fuentes.
Yes.
So I was practicing the Fuentes, but I didn't want to mess up your first name. So let us know real quick who you are and what it is that you do.
So I've been living in Baltimore for 17 years. I'm also a graduate student at MICA, which is the Maryland Institute College of Art. And I'm also the organizer of Somos Latinx Art and Culture Festival, which I started this year.
That's a festival. It's a big taking.
So that's kind of like what I've been becoming known as, the organizer of this festival. And now it's like once a month kind of event leading up to the festival.
How long have you been here in Baltimore?
In Baltimore, I've been here for 17 years.
17 years. And currently you go to MICA. You're in a program there. Can you tell us a little bit about the program you're
So the program I'm in is called Social Design. And basically what it means is that I'm trying to, we're a team of people from around the world that we're working on addressing social issues through design. So we apply what's called a human-centered design process. And we work with like nonprofits, Baltimore City, and government, and to see in what ways we can apply our design tools towards addressing various issues like food equity, racial justice, immigration, all sorts of topics.
So that's your job, but how do you do that? Like how do you do those things?
How?
Like is it through social media or, advertisement or?
I guess
building.
It's I have an architecture background, so all of us in that class, we were 11 people. We all have very different backgrounds, whether it's in design or in like English or something academic. And then we come together to kind of find ways that we can apply design. If you think of design as more than just a chair, like designing a system, designing a environment, designing a way of life. So we think of every possible solution and make it happen.
In terms of just making life a little bit easier or just the city run a little bit better?
For example, like I can give an example. Last semester we worked on a project with STI centers in Baltimore to make them more youth friendly, because a lot of youth don't get tested and or treated too, and it's because
so can you tell people who don't know what that is?
So like sexually transmitted infections. A lot of the clinics in Baltimore are underfunded. They look very dull and gray and kind of not very inviting. So what we did was worked with clinicians and also some of Baltimore City's health department staff to find ways that we can make these clinics more youth friendly. And so now we launched the Stay Sexy, Stay Healthy campaign.
So it doesn't look as, drab, and you're already nervous when you go in. You don't want to feel...
So that's just one of many projects we've worked on, and so that's just one thing that's really important issue that's overlooked.
So not only the physical space, but the advertisement.
Yeah, so it's two parts. We actually made the space look better with in terms of I guess diagrams, because people get lost. So now we have a map on the wall, like the walls are colorful, they're not dull. And apart from that, we also have a campaign, like a media campaign, called Stay Sexy, Stay Healthy.
How did you know that this is what you wanted to do? Or was it just one of those things that you learned about it and you gravitated towards it?
So I was at MICA for 4 years prior to this program, and
you said architecture.
I was in architecture, and I do love architecture, but I feel like it was a bit limiting for me in some ways, because I always wanted to go beyond, sitting over a desk drafting and drawing on a computer.
Right.
I loved working with people, so it naturally came to me to go into this program that's in the same school. because this is exactly what we do. We go out and interview people. We interviewed a lot of youth, for example. We worked with youth.
Research.
Research, exactly. You can't really design for people without knowing what they want.
People try. It doesn't necessarily work. But the social architecture kind of allows the individuals to have a better idea of what they're getting themselves into in terms of, like the example that you used, going into a hospital is nerve-wracking, whether you're healthy or not. And having it to look aesthetically pleasing, or even to catch you while you're on a bus stop or driving by and you see an advertisement for it, it reminds you that, you know, just get healthy, go see the doctor. But that's a lot of people don't think about. So I built this hospital, people should want to come here. No, they don't. Like, it wouldn't be a need for a hospital if people wanted to come there. What other things are you learning about this community and yourself in terms of by way of your art? So with your artistry, with your work, what are you learning about yourself and your community?
Well, one thing that I learned, especially with organizing a festival for the first time, was that you really have to delegate. You can't put everything on yourself. And, you know, I organized this festival in 3 months.
Wow.
And the reason that happened was because I didn't feel like I had a platform as a Latina in Baltimore to showcase my work.
Right.
And especially in Station North, I just feel like there's not enough access to resources for the Latino population in Baltimore.
No matter if you go to MICA or not.
Exactly. And obviously if you go to MICA, you have MICA's resources and within that bubble. So what I wanted to do was pop that bubble. And actually, you know, I have a privilege being at that school and having access to all that. How can I make that, all that accessibility more available to other people?
Right.
So I got a big grant from MICA to organize an event. And the original intention was because I couldn't showcase my work. So I organized the entire festival, 9 hours long. And what I learned from that was that it's the power of community. If people really believe in you, and I've been here for long enough that a large section of the Latino population like knows about programs that I talk about, like CASA and EBLO. So I got a large amount of support, and that's really how you make things happen. If you are able to get enough support and be as inclusive in every stage of planning, you know?
It is it's amazing to me, especially when I talk to people from MICA, how intricate the focus can be with art and how integrated art can be in its community. And it's not just a pretty picture on a wall or a nice performance on a stage, but it really can be a part of helping to move things around and across and forward and up and down, whatever. And as an artist, I'm realizing my responsibility to further figure out ways to integrate my artistry into social justice, social activism, just a social consciousness. And I shouldn't just be taking resources without figuring out how to plant more seeds. That it's amazing that people are doing that. Are there any other projects that you want to work on in terms of community art-based projects?
For the past 2 years, I've been working on a project called Kinetic Kitchen. So I started. So I started this after-school program called Kinetic Kitchen, and it's a mobile after-school program for kids to focus on healthy eating and cooking skills. So I've been running this for 2 years. I've had a lot of support. I even had a restaurant at one point.
So you cook as well?
I do.
Wow.
So it kind of, I had to make the tough decision of putting it on a pause, just because I feel like right now for me immigration is more important and more imminent to address, because it affects a huge Latino population in Baltimore, in general the immigrant community. So Kinetic Kitchen was really awesome, and I'm actually working with Johns Hopkins, a group of public health students, to help find a way to make it continue and without me being present. So we're gonna collaborate on making a curriculum guide that can be implemented in any school.
I may have some ideas.
Oh, okay.
That is awesome. And what not to combat what you just said, but to add to it, as artists, as anybody really, being on the front line doesn't always mean you're the soldier. You know, often being on the front line means you're the teacher and you're giving information to your students, or you're the parent giving information to your child and making sure this one person has the resources to be able to go out into the world, or owning your own restaurant, whereas though you're able to funnel funds and skill sets to individuals that empowers them to be able to go out and help their community in whatever the great cause is. I'm finding that a lot of people feel like there's only one job when it comes to fighting or to justice or getting equality for everyone, but we need everybody to be able to be in this fight from their perspective, so change can really happen, like 360. I'm finding that in the Latina struggle, the black struggle, the LGBTQ, the women's, if there are 100 people in each one of those segments, that's 400 people. But if all 4 of those groups get together, then that's 400 people fighting towards the same system that is oppressing each one of them. So change can then happen. But if we keep fighting in terms of our own individual fight, then change will happen so slow. But it's very serious and very critical that we all are culturally represented, whereas though our culture and who we are and our heritage and our background is being spotlighted. So I commend you for the work that you're doing and furthering your culture and your community and who you feel as though you're coming from and who you are. How hard is it to be an artist with all of these ideas in only 24 hours in the day?
It's really hard. Sometimes I don't know why I'm doing all these things.
The purpose will unfold in time, but I find myself with all these ideas and either not enough people or not enough money or just not enough time. Time and money normally is the biggest factor. You can find people, you can find resources, but the money and the time is normally always on the short end of the stick.
The best lesson I've learned is just say no. Like, learn to say no, because I say yes to many things. I've been working on it.
You have effective. You can say it in 2 languages now. So
I've been I've been saying more no's, but I feel like having said yes too many times has made me feel like bubble gum being stretched out way too much.
And then you're not effective at that point.
Yeah, my mom always tells me, like, if you're not gonna do one thing well, what's the point of doing like
a master of one?
Yes.
and it doesn't mean that you can't do everything else on the list. It's if you get this together, you'll have the resource to be able to dibble and dabble in everything that you want to do. But as an artist, we tend to want to like do everything. In my 20s, I learned everything that was about theater because I had a fear of not. I'm sorry, something was in my throat. I had a fear of not always getting the acting job. So if I don't get the acting job, I can still eat because I can be the stage manager, I can be the costumer, so on and so forth. But we have to learn how to focus in on that one thing that we want to do that can help everything else that can then do it. And then you can start layering on the responsibilities.
And that's why I put Kinetic Kitchen on a pause, because I've realized, I'm not a professional cook. Like, I didn't go to culinary school. I don't have a nutrition background. There's other people better suited than I am for this job, and I'm glad I started it, but it's not my position to be doing that. So I'm a designer first, and so now I'm embedding myself and fully into this festival and the music art scene. So I'm actually introducing civic engagement opportunities within the music and arts scene.
So we're gonna learn a little bit more about Miss Fuentes when we return back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. We're going to work in scientific, so stay tuned. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Hey everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired Radio Show.
I'm just thankful this year I've dealt with, some growing pains, and I've overcome some things, and I've also, accomplished some things in the process. I've learned some things. I've learned Man, I learned that everybody loves your work until they got to pay for it. That's what I learned. That's what I learned. I learned everybody loves what you do.
The pay?
I mean,
not always.
Listen, the Bible says money answereth all things.
Well,
okay, and there is a place. There is a place where finances is necessary. And when you got kids and when you got a wife and then you doing everything and you know you top dog at what you do, especially when you weren't in the same place you like with this radio show. You ain't in the same place you were a year ago. Should nobody be coming on the show and not donating to your show?
Can you say that on my show?
Should nobody be coming to your show?
Can you say that in the middle of the live?
Yeah, make that a promo, please.
Should nobody?
Should
nobody come on this show without donating?
Yes.
I don't care if it's $20.
Donate.
Tune in to Be Inspired every Wednesday live at 7 p.m. right here on Be Exposed Radio.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Just say your name, because I want to say Valerie, but that's not your name.
It's Valeria.
Valeria.
Yes.
Did I say it right?
Yes.
Valeria. I don't know how to roll my tongue like that. Valeria Fuentes. She is currently a student in the master's program at graduate program at Micah University, studying kind of social architecture, social design. And she does work with helping programs or the community or institutions kind of bridge the community or make it more people friendly, if you will. What has been the struggle in doing that? Because I could see people thinking, are you trying to re-gentrify the community? Like, what's been the pushback? Or has there been one?
Well, we don't really, I haven't really faced the whole gentrification thing. I mean, that's more so if you're trying to do architecture and you know, massive change.
Right.
Like, kind of like at the core of what social design is to apply small scale solutions.
More aesthetics.
Small scale solutions as opposed to like a massive large change. The idea is to kind of do these small little interventions that will hopefully lead to longer term change.
Okay. Without just changing everything at one time.
So we don't get that much pushback. Like, I guess the only pushback is just as a consequence of time scheduling. Right now we're working with Douglas Homes, which is in East Baltimore. It's a housing project. We're working to help ease them into this new policy that the housing department, federal policy, that all housing projects have to be smoke-free by next year. Most residents don't know this. Like, this is a policy that affects every single public housing in the U.S. And you know, at Douglas Homes, people think that we're trying to attack them on their smoking. But all we're trying to do is actually provide resources for them in case so that they know that by July next year, they have to not smoke in their houses. So there's been a lot of bit of like pushback in terms of that, getting people to attend our events, you know, to get informed.
So what is the consequence if they do say smoke? Have they created the rules?
That's the thing. HUD, which is the housing agency, they haven't really put any kind of, they're very vague in their policy and in terms of how it will be implemented.
Because isn't that already a rule, or?
It's not a rule, it's more of like, don't do it.
Right.
Like, you know.
Because I thought that was already in, but it's not like a rule.
It's not a rule.
It's more like, we don't want you smoking in the house.
Yeah,
okay.
Like, because I guess since we have the new person in charge of the HUD, they have been a bit more adamant about what kind of policies take place.
Health, okay, I get it.
Yeah, like, you know, second-hand smoking, those kind of things are real. And actually, if we do reduce the amount of smoke, people smoking in their houses, it would actually increase the amount of money that goes into public housing. Okay. So the thing is, we're trying to see how does this money actually get used? You know, is it just gonna go back into another pool of money, or will it actually help improve the housing projects? You know.
So that's not even structured yet. That's not even.
No, none of that's structured. We're just working with what there is, and we're working directly with Douglas Homes like management, and so like that's just one project that's really, I think, we're like in the design stage of still working on it,
right?
And it's more of like a campaign called Healthy Air.
I'll say it is definitely this secondhand smoke period. It annoys me because I don't think it's necessarily you not caring, but you're just not aware of how it's affecting everybody else. And when you're living in those types of housing where the walls are paper thin, you can smell it. So the apartment I used to live in, the man under me used to smoke. I could smell that in certain areas. Like, so I had to move my room so I did not wake up to that every morning. Like, I knew every morning at 6 o'clock, smoke time. Like, and I think people not realizing how, you know, you are attached to other people in this. It's not like a house out in the woods somewhere where if you want to do harm, you can do it to yourself. But people not realizing how, you know, attached the problem is. Was that like a part of your schoolwork, or was that something you chose to be a part of?
Yeah, I chose to be a part of this. So it's a class. It's called Practice-Based Studio. Okay. So separate from my core like social design program, where it's like an elective. Okay. So our professor.
But you have physical work to do.
Yeah, so it's beyond just a class. It's more of like, it's very engaged in community. We basically want to be as most involved as possible. We do volunteer as much as we can. Like, we just helped out with their Halloween party they just had for the kids. I think it was this Tuesday. It was a lot of fun. Actually, the sorority, the Deltas from UMBC, have held this party for 20 years.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And actually, it's really great because there's very little actual like events like this at Douglas Homes. So
you're learning more about the Baltimore community.
Yeah.
And you're more active in some of the solutions that's going on.
And it's funny because I grew up in Highlandtown, and like as a kid there, you know, it's like so different being in that bubble, not knowing about anything else. You know, you're kind of just in your own neighborhood. And then now being at MICA, I feel like obviously there's a MICA bubble, but now I'm able to kind of see what's my role as a designer in the city.
And it's probably encouraging you to explore the other bubbles in the city.
Yeah, that's what I'm slowly doing.
Right. What have you learned about Baltimore in general being in this program?
Well, I love Baltimore. It's like it's in my heart, and I just see that Baltimore's a bit like a quilt. It's just like a lot of patches everywhere, and it's kind of hard to tap into different patches. Like, there's so many great people doing the same work that don't even know about each other. You know, that's kind of my thing. Like, why aren't you guys talking?
Well, I'll say being a teaching artist. When I first started this, when I was like 23, maybe like 10, 11 years ago, it was only a few teaching artists in the school system. And it really grew because, well, I have a different idea than you have, so I'm going to go and start my own program. Instead of pooling the resources, because if we got 5 programs that come together, then you can go for huge grants and such that's out there. But everybody wants their own thing, which force the money to do that bubblegum stretch thing. So everybody's getting a little bit less, if they're getting anything. If because there's all these programs out there vying for. I love it because it's reaching more people. But what it's doing is limiting the access and the resources that are then allocated to all of those people. But we got to take another quick break. We got to pay some bills. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Don't forget to share out. Go to your Facebook page, click invite, click share, let people know what's going on. We'll be right back.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ball in street? Girl in street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You use Tearless Baby Shampoo because it's gentle on your baby's eyes. You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You always test the bath water to make sure it's not too hot. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You make sure she wears a helmet when she rides her bicycle. You put on his sunscreen, even when he's embarrassed his friends will see. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Is your child facing the right way in the car seat? Is the seat too big or too small? How do you know when it's time to move your child into the next type of seat? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. That's safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet. Fingerling. Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
Man, it is what it is. Man, it is what it is. Well, it is what it is.
This fly T Miles, also known as Tyree Miles, and Mr. Miles the writer.
Hip Hop K, check us out every Friday on Be Exposed Radio at 9/11.
Coming to y'all soon.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here, only on BeExposedRadio.com. We have Valeria. I said it right?
Yeah.
You sure? Okay. Valeria Fuentes. She is an artist. So would you consider yourself a visual artist or more of an architect? Or
I would say designer.
A designer. Yeah. So she's a designer. I'll say artist. Designer. And now social justice community organizer in a way. I love the levels of titles that we have as artists because you could do anything. You can take your arts. I just went to a meeting at Arts Every Day, and I've realized what I've been doing as a teaching artist I can be more effective in integrating what I do with social skills and the classroom itself. And as artists, you have to figure out those ways because it makes you more valuable, one, but it also gives you more purpose to do what it is, and you showing people how to do what you do, or you allowing people to experience what you do by still helping them at the same time. Are there any, so in terms of, say, your festival, where do you see that going? Will you continue doing this every year, or, you know, where are you now, like post festival? I know you're probably still tired, but where are you now?
So I started the festival in April of this year, and it was kind of like the culmination of my thesis. And so I'm actually planning to do it again next year. I've applied to many grants. I've gotten back from most of them. So I've already been working with a group of artists and community organizers to help me delegate and also manage this festival to a larger scale.
That part is the hardest.
That's not what I did well this year. And I mean, it was successful.
Do everything yourself.
It was successful, but I think like it could be more successful, you know. And so now instead of just being an annual festival, I'm doing these monthly events called Root Raices. And it's being held at the Crown. So it's starting December 16th. I'm going to have my first event called Roots Raices, and we have about 6 artists lined up that night. It's a sliding scale fee, $5 to $7, whatever you can pay. And the idea is that the grants will actually help support the artists performing, and then the money that you pay will actually go towards a scholarship fund.
So will it be visual artists or just performing artists?
They're all performing artists. I'm actually getting 2 visual artists. One's going to be filming, and then the other one is doing the visual effects in the background. So once a month we're going to have this event, kind of building momentum to the festival.
And the next one is?
The next one's going to be the first Saturday of January. And so each month is going to be slightly different. It's going to be a mix of different types of artists. I'm kind of curating each event individually. So this month coming up is very much about both Black and Brown communities uniting. It's not just about the Latino community. It's about generally creating a positive space for immigrants. And so we have people from all over the world, like Black and Brown communities of artists just working and collaborating. And I really hope this turns out. And also,
there's a need for it.
I think it's just like we have a lot of separate events, and I'm also collaborating with another group of artists that started Latin Fluff, which is another event at the Crown which they're kind of thinking.
I stumbled into that one time.
Oh, okay. They're thinking about expanding it into other ways. But I wanted to create a space that's not just Latino. I think it's important to recognize there's a large immigrant community in Baltimore.
And we have a lot of similarities. And being distinct, making sure your culture is represented and it's a clear image of it. But realizing we all need allies. So that's phenomenal. What is your ultimate goal? Is it like the build up to your festival every year, or is it something separate from it?
So not only that, my initial goal was to provide a platform for Latinx artists to perform, but now I think that there's an opportunity to also introduce civic engagement into these events, because I feel like there is a lot of attention to politics, but not enough action. And I think that there is a role. Yeah, there's a role we can play actually coming up with the midterm elections next year, November 6th. So what I'm hoping to do is actually have information about policies that affect the immigrant community, rallies, things going on that people can sign up to. You know, you're just going to have fun that night, but then you're also kind of like learning, oh, there's this thing I can do next week.
How, in what you're doing now on the social design aspect of it, how can you make voting more appealing to people in general? How do you feel like you can?
That's exactly what I want to. I'm still figuring out what my thesis will be, because this is a one-year program. My thesis is next year, but I think I'm interested in how can I get young people to vote, especially in midterm elections. You know, it's like they definitely voted in 2016, but I feel like the midterm elections, which affects Congress, is something that's really overlooked.
The direct decision maker.
Yes, and there's about 10 positions that are right now pending that could be taken by Democrats and people who can support policies we support, you know. And
I think this would make it, this atmosphere that we're in right now would make it so much easier, but people still have to get out and do it.
Yeah.
Like that's what's the problem this last election.
And I'm not about endorsing any particular candidate. I'm actually just trying to create a platform for people to be engaged, whether they're Republican or Democrat or Green Party or Independent.
Will you be inviting some of those constituents out to the event, or those running? Do you want to do those type of events, or just?
I'm not really sure. I'm not sure yet. I don't think that was the direction I was trying to go into. I'm more trying to. I see that there's a lot of, I guess, potential in how musicians, like especially local Baltimore musicians, have a large following of people. And if musicians are more engaged actively in politics in some ways, maybe the people that follow them will also try to learn more.
And I saw that work with artists like Easy Jackson. He was with Ryan, I can't remember his last name. He is a representative, a congressman, council person for like East Baltimore area over there by like Mervo, that area. And I saw how influential Easy was on that campaign. Not to say he didn't believe in it because he was his manager, but how he took his pool of people and put them to work in that campaign and how beneficial that was. Now, Ryan was awesome at what he's doing currently now that he won the seat, but I saw how influential that artistry, that creative area was to lending itself to him, pushing him over that space. What is the struggle in making that work? What do you think the issue is in getting people out to actually vote? Or because sometimes understanding what the problem is can get us to the solution. But what do you think? Is it access, or is it knowledge, or just want to?
Yeah, as a young person myself, I see that there is a lot of political apathy. I think politics, the word politics has just become a dirty word, and we associate it to very negative things. And I think there needs to be a turn with that, and see that there is power in being involved. I think our vote, voting is a thing that we overlook, that there's a lot of power in that, and people think that, oh, my one vote won't count, but it actually will, you know. And I guess there's also not enough awareness about various issues that don't affect you directly, you know. Especially, like, for example, like immigration policies right now affecting the Baltimore Latino community. That people don't really know what's going on, you know. They don't know that these people are being attacked just by going to a pharmacy and then being deported, you know.
And that's why I think we need to work together, because say the brown community and the black community can definitely get together and share experiences. So you have a culture of people who have been going through that since day one. Not to say that Latino community has not been, but you have a targeted group of people that's from this city that has constantly gone through that. So if we talk together more and realize, hey, I go through the same thing, or this is how we get through it, or this is what we suggest that you do, or this is how I think we can collectively get together, I think people will better understand. But you don't understand what I'm going through, so you don't know, because it's fresh for certain people right now. But no, I definitely know what you're talking about. I know what it feels like to just walk down the street and feel like I'm a target. But the solution, like, we get a lot of these conversations going, but none of them equal to a solution. How can we get to a solution? I didn't mean to cut you off, but how can we get to a solution that actually works? Or
well, that's what I'm working on right now. Like I said, social design is really that process that it may take time, but I think it's very important to take the steps to get to that solution. I actually don't have a solution yet. Right. I'm not very like product driven. I'm more of like these steps will take me there.
The atmosphere to get to
and I think I have some ideas of how to get there. It's definitely like in the direction of awareness, education, like media. I'm even tapping into like the clothing industry. And so I just feel like there's a lot of things we take for granted, like for example, apparel, clothing.
Right.
That actually is a media itself, you know.
We're starting to see that now with the more message-driven T-shirt brands.
But I'm actually critical of people who use social movements to commodify it. You know, I don't think that's a good thing.
Yeah, because then it becomes about just wearing a T-shirt versus what it actually says.
It's like online activists. You know, people who just post about it but never actually go out to anything. You know.
Right, or just share something somebody else wrote, so it's now on my page too.
Like, you can't call yourself an activist and just be online.
So what's the balance then? How do we keep it from being commercial versus informative and with a purpose? Like, how do we create that balance? Because, you know, ultimately these things cost money to print T-shirts or do banners and such, but how do you, you know, create that balance where I could make a living being an activist, no different than politicians, but I don't need to make it such a commodity that it's about the business, the overhead versus, you know, helping a specific population or a cause.
I think if we think about where we're putting our money into, you know, and if it's just for aesthetics, you have to ask yourself, is this just for aesthetics, or is this? Are you thinking about how this money will actually affect your future decisions, you know? Right. For example, like, you know that list of black-owned businesses, and like when they, you know, you're encouraged to just buy from that list on a certain day, and so that way you're supporting the black-owned business community in Baltimore. Like, if you think about where is your money going into on your daily purchases, and how that impacts, you know, the future. For example, if you purchase a T-shirt from a company that uses the money that you know send to them for a social movement, I think that's a positive transaction.
Versus there's somebody who's not from where you at, you know, if you're more locally community focused, finding those organizations that are here to give you money, because then your money is coming back, and researching whether or not my cousin has a restaurant, and I try to support him as much as I can because I see physically what he's doing for his community. And I can't really see what this business is doing. I can say they're not doing anything, but I can directly see what he's doing. So I would rather help him out because I see how far his reach is in terms of using those couple dollars from my meal to be able to help another person. And I think we should be more invested that way. We're going to go to a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
We're rewarding you for something you already do, listening to us. It's Radio Loyalty, and it's an easy way for you to get free stuff. All you do is sign up. Go ahead and click the banner now. You'll earn points as you listen. Points you can trade in for great products and services in the Radio Loyalty store. You can earn even more points when you share your favorite station with friends on Facebook and Twitter. Radio Loyalty. It's free to sign up, so click the banner to join now.
Yeah, this the man that holds it down. Mr. Showtime, D the Boss. Check us out every Saturday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
I'm in a relationship. My girl happens to be long distance. So with that being said,
I beat my thing like it owes me money.
Sorry.
Because I asked that because so many people are not comfortable.
Here's my thing. It's mine.
That's right.
And you need to know yourself before you can have somebody please. If you can't tell nobody how to please you, if you don't know how to please yourself.
That's right.
You know what you like. You know what you like. You know the stroke, all that. So you're right. And I mean, you shouldn't be ashamed of it.
It's your body. Yeah, I'm over here struggling with the ear.
Yeah, I'm glad it's you today. I'm glad it's you today, brother.
Oh, this thing going to drop. It's going to drop about at least like 5 times.
I'm over there struggling.
So E.D., do you have a problem with masturbating?
No, I don't. I don't masturbate often because I have a fear of going blind. So, yes. When I found, yes.
You could go blind from
Yes. I read about it. Is that true?
No.
It's not true.
It's not.
Okay.
Because I was going to say I should have been blind a long time ago.
Let me drop some knowledge on you real quick.
I was just playing.
But Hey, what's up, good people? It's the man you all know and love, E.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
In what ways can we actually learn from the country?
So we're back. We're back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show. I am learning a lot from Miss Fuentes. I'm sorry, I love your last name. It's just so pretty to say. I'm learning a lot in terms of what my responsibility is and the work that it takes. I may have to pay a little bit more for something if I know that it's going to a greater cause, because ultimately it's going to come back and help me, opposed to take away from this community. We can no longer be in these desert communities where 1 or 2 businesses is soaking up everything and then they go out and live somewhere else and spend their money somewhere else, and nothing is going back into the neighborhood, or they're not caring about how it looks. You know, I walk past a lot of businesses and I can clearly see they don't care what the storefront looks like, because they're making it. You will go into that business anyway, and that's their feeling. But if we require them to do a little bit more than what is normal, what has become their normal, I think we'll see a bigger return to the way our communities look. We're starting to see that, say, in the Station North, and even in the Highlandtown community. People are now really invested in what the community is, opposed to, you know, I'm going to make my money and then I'm going to go out in the county and I'm going to live. Now you see people starting to really invest in, even if they still live out in the county, they still invested in the places that they frequent, opposed to not. Are there any, so if this wasn't what you were doing, what do you think you would be doing right now?
I don't know. I always thought I would be an architect.
So that's when your goal.
That's why I studied architecture. But I feel like, I mean, architecture is great. I really still do love architecture. But I think I probably would be in the design field. It was kind of like a critical moment when I applied to a magnet art high school.
And what school was that?
Carver Center.
Okay.
It's in Towson.
Towson.
Yeah. So I think once I decided to go to Carver instead of Eastern Tech, that was a critical moment in my life, because if I went to Eastern Tech, I would be in engineering. And I would just be going down this other route.
That you didn't want to do.
And I'm a very personable individual. I really love talking to people, and I think engineers are great. I'm actually working with engineers right now on another project.
But that's not your lane. Right?
No, because I feel like architecture and engineering for me isn't really the route that I like to take. I think being an artist is like you said previously, you kind of define your own label. You can say you're this and that, you know. Even though I got a degree in Bachelor's of Fine Arts, like that's my degree. I'm not a fine artist. Like, I'm not.
You don't know. I mean,
but I would say I'm a artist and an interdisciplinary artist and designer. Like, that's how I would define myself.
And that goes back to what I said when you first got here. Like, being on the front line doesn't necessarily mean you need to be that soldier. Like, this is your artistry. You know, you're doing more of the aesthetics of what artistry is, or what the practical form of it, the wearable art portion of it. So how do I turn this location right here into something where people can get to easily? You know, so that means employing artists to be able to make that lobby of that, you know, that lobby or that room that the patient sits in more aesthetically pleasing to the eye. So I feel comfortable. You know, my doctor now is at Chase Braxton, and she used to be at University of Maryland, so I'm now at Chase Braxton. And I remember the part of University of Maryland that I used to be in, it was like monotone, it was like blue. And I used to be like, your heart is already racing because whatever. I'm in a doctor's office, where you see other sick people, and it's just like you get nervous. And I just remember it just being like so drab. But Chase Braxton is so bright, and it's not just white, but you see stuff on the walls, interactive, the TVs, it just feels, the seats are more comfortable, and you just feel comfortable. So now when you go in to see a doctor, you're already at ease, opposed to like being so uptight. But that's necessary. So I see your work, and I always wondered how those things got to be that way. Now I understand that's social design. It has nothing to do with the healthcare industry, but it definitely helps the healthcare industry to be able to effectively do their job. So when a doctor is sitting across from a patient giving them bad news, they are comfortable, or as comfortable as they could be, and they don't feel like they're in an asylum somewhere. Did you see this for yourself? Because you know what you wanted to do, and you like talking, but did you see this, or was it just the research that got you to this point?
Well, how I found out about social design was that I was in my second year at MICA in architecture, and I started to hear about this program, and I kind of just was the stranger in the back of the room, just sitting there and listening.
Did you need the architectural background to do this?
Actually, I would say yes.
Okay.
I actually don't regret it. Sometimes I feel like I should have been a fibers major, but because I love working with textiles and garments.
Okay.
And
that's a course line there as well.
Yeah, so that's in itself a major, and I'm taking a lot of textile classes now. And so I think architecture has helped me see the world in a different way. I'm always aware of it because especially in social design, I think I am always aware of spaces and spaces in which I'm contained, and I think about the power of architecture, where a person who's just simply drawing can impact the lives of so many people without them realizing it,
But now it's showing you, with that, I'm just guessing, what is possible in a room. So what, say this hospital needs your advice. They want to make it more pleasing, but you see the limitations in this room. Like this room right here is small. So we can do things in this room, but it's limited, based on your knowledge of what is possible or architecturally sound in this room, to keep it still safe, to keep it still, possible for us to get the environment that we want based on what is possible. And then you be in the middle and you're able to come up with a solution, versus me putting something in here that means it's the table I wanted, but it doesn't really fit architecturally in this room without it being cramped or easy flow. So that's what when you talking about this is what I see. Now I understand why certain things because I always wonder, like, how would a hospital come up with this? Like, who is working here to make this possible? But now I understand, like, it's a separate organization or individuals with separate skill sets. It's not just the interior designer that comes in and say, I think this wall should be this color. But you've done the research and you know what colors mean what and what comfortable.
Actually, that's interesting you bring that up. Colors really do impact people. And in hospitals specifically, they have a very set palette because of certain colors, like shades of blue and green, will calm you. So that's why if you go to hospital, you don't really see reds, yellows, oranges, because
danger.
Unless it's like an exit sign,
right,
exactly.
Like
they're meant to calm, relax you. And I think
like white is clean and sterile.
Yeah, and so like architecture is kind of like this balance of being both practical and also aesthetic. And you also have to think conceptually. For example, if you want to be a most efficient building ever, you're gonna get a box. But if you want to be actually the most efficient in design, you're gonna think about people and how people move through space. What is their natural course of if you go through a building and don't get lost, that's good architecture.
Right. So when I look at movies, I normally have to watch a movie at least 2 times or about the time it comes to TV is normally when I'm able to enjoy it, because I'm looking at acting, I'm looking at that box was there, but then the next frame is not there, so that was a cut and paste, and somebody forgot to put the box back exactly where it was supposed to be at. So I look at things that way. So when you go into buildings, is that where your mind's going? Like, you're looking at, oh, that shouldn't be like that.
I do that not just with architecture. I do that with design. Like even looking at trash cans, I'm like, that is a bad trash can.
Oh.
Like because
it's not pleasing.
Someone else is looking at like an advertisement. I'm looking at the trash can. I'm like, how will someone know to recycle if that doesn't even have a label? That's like that shade of blue's too close to the green. Like.
I've always wondered if that's what architects do. Like how crazy is your mind going when you go into a space and see all these red zones that should be there? But we're going to take another quick break. I'm actually going to call Scientific when we come back from the break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Do yourself a favor and listen to this hilarious flashback on Charm City Direct Radio Show.
You know me. I eat like this all the time. Do I gain any weight?
No.
At all.
You can have my belly right now. I'm giving away body parts. Somebody said they need a butt. Somebody said they need a butt.
I can use a little extra tissue there.
I can pop it. Right now.
He out here giving out butt cheek donations.
Hey everybody, it's your girl, the magical glow getter herself, Anissa Maureen, co-host of the Charm City Direct Radio Show. Catch me and the rest of my team every Saturday, 5 to 7 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
Hey, what's up, good people? It's the man you all know and love, E. Digger. Make sure you check us out every Saturday from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Couple minutes left in the segment.
Sure.
Change is good.
Yes.
Knowing when to make that change in your life. And I think it's important that you know a strategy. You know where you need to go. But change is good. Everything don't stay the same.
Right.
And if you're a person, especially for old people, that can't accept change, then it's kind of hard. Right. I was going to a church. I'm gonna make this real brief. I was going to a church that could not, some older members. I attended the second oldest black Presbyterian church in the country. That's one. And why are you laughing?
Yeah, it's bad that she even knew that.
And that's the soundbite. Yeah. So
thank you, Eric.
we would play certain music, and we implemented a lot of equipment or instruments like drums and piano, and the style of singing changed. And two people out of the congregation, after the service, they would go up to the pastor, sit down, and say, "Hey, sit down. Let me talk to you." And they will critique each song in the service every week. And it was change. It was evolution. You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
And they could not begin to accept it. Like, they are used to the traditional hymn.
The Negro spiritual.
Yes. Not only that.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Hey, what's up, family? Welcome to the Black...
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter.
Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story, adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away at theshelterpetproject.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here on this marvelous Saturday afternoon. I'm going to find something to do that requires me to just sit in the park and maybe snack on something and people watch because the weather is awesome. But real quick, I'm going to ask Valeria. Am I saying it right? I don't want to mess it up.
Valeria.
Valeria. Valeria. I'm going to ask her for your social media site, how people can find you if they want to help you out, if they want to be a part of your mission or just be able to follow your work.
Yeah, sure. I have an Instagram I just started. It's called Vale Fuentes Design.
Okay.
So VALE Fuentes Design.
So we get to see more of the structural, more of the projects that you're doing.
I haven't posted anything because I just started it, separate from my personal account.
Right.
And I also have a website. It's just my name, ValeriaFuentes.com.
Okay. So we're gonna, she's gonna give us those things, and we're gonna post it to our page, so you'll be able to find her more easily. But also joining us right now is Mr. Scientific, Mr. Around the World and Back Again, the hip hop artist. Say hello, Mr. Scientific.
Hey, what up? What up? This is Scientific.
How's it going?
I'm blessed. Everything is great. I'm excited. I'm working.
Can you hear him?
Great stuff.
You can't hear him. So let us know. So first of all, welcome to the United States.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
Now, is this your first trip here, or you've been here before?
Nah, this is my first trip.
So how is it going? I know you've been traveling and moving around and networking and such.
Yeah. I mean, it's been great. I mean, I did, an award show up in Dallas. It was really good. I showed what Scientific is all made of, and I'm just waving at LIP flag. I'm definitely networking, with a lot of other African artists that from Central Africa that I'm working with right now, and plenty a whole lot, in terms of shows in different places. I'll be going to Cali for another show as well, and then I'm leaving from Minnesota, to shoot videos and all like that. So I'm working. My team is supporting, and the entire Liberia, everybody, excited to see me win. So I mean, it's a great deal.
How long are you planning on being here? Or are we trying to keep you?
I'm actually here for 3 months.
Okay. So we're trying to get you here to Baltimore. And our guest today, Valeria. Maybe you can work with her. She's doing some events. But we're definitely trying to get you here to the DMV area and meet you.
That would be awesome.
And such.
That would be awesome.
I know, because I know he has a schedule and such, so we go ahead and maybe extend that visa a little bit longer. Find some work to justify it. But how has your experience been just overall being in the different places? Because you've been going to some culturally different places and working.
Yeah, it hasn't been tough. I just love to lay back because the thing with me, man, in Africa, I've been networking out here already, so once I got here, it was kind of easy for me, like people that I've been talking to, and then I met, some new people that have heard my music, and always wanted to see Scientific and everything. So now, I'm actually networking with them. They're trying to organize things to put Scientific out there. It's just a blessing. I mean, the fact that you come to a place where people want to see you, want to heard about you, for a very long time, especially in a Liberian community. And the fact that I'm about to go, so that I'm really excited because, I mean, I got a lot of fans there, you know, even way back from Africa. You know, a lot of them came to the United States, you know, years and years back. So, you know, they were all scientific fans. So, I mean, it's going to be a great thing. And the fact that I'm working on, you know, a whole movement right now, like the generation, African hip-hop is like a whole movement, you know, and we're going to do merchandise and all like that, you know, so yeah, man, I'm just working and excited, man.
So it's not any way that America can steal you and just keep you for itself?
What you said, Carter?
I said, so there's no way that America just can steal you and keep you for ourselves?
Nah, not at all, man.
So how has it been, like, the initial visit? I mean, this is a totally different place, but how different is it from where you're from? If you could tell us a little bit about where you're from and where you grew up.
Well, yeah, I'm from Liberia. I was there, you know, as everybody knows, Liberia went through, you know, serious civil war and everything. So as a youngin, I left during that time when the war was in Liberia, and then I went to Cote d'Ivoire.
Mm-hmm.
I was there with my family for a while, and then I happened to, you know, move over to Ghana. And with Ghana, you know, that actually stayed, went to school over there, you know, started my entire career, you know, from Ghana. But it was one thing about me, I always had a country at heart. So whatever I did in Ghana, I was always, you know, screaming out like LIB, which is like in Liberia, you know, Ghana, the war's going on. So I stayed true to it. I was always, you know, waving that flag, and then when everything ceased, you know, I decided to go back home, you know, take business, you know, because I have families out there. And then, you know, I went back home, did a couple of shows, so it's like the entire country knew about scientific and all like that. And then, you know, I just been moving, and then I got involved into humanitarian work as well. Like now, I'm the goodwill ambassador for the School of the Blind in Liberia. You know, I go over there and do a lot of donations and stuff like that. You know, I love helping the less fortunate. You know, I go to different communities, you know, different neighborhoods, and then, you know, make them feel at home. So from where I'm from, you know, I mean, I came over here, of course, you know, I'm from a third world country, and, you know, I mean, the United States, of course, is very developed and everything. I mean, it's vast.
We're getting there.
But then, at the end of the day, you know, I feel like it's a land of opportunity. So once you come out here, you just stay focused, you do what you have to do and get out. That's how I see it. So, yeah, I'm just blending with it. You know, I ain't changing for nobody. I'm just here for a few months, so I'm just trying to do what I have to do, because that's the reason I'm here. You know, so I'm just doing that. Yeah.
So I know you're doing a lot of recording while you're here. Can you tell us about, because you're kind of resubmitting yourself to the music industry and starting fresh and coming back out. So can you tell us about your upcoming project?
Yeah, I got a project coming out, The Best of Scientific, on Apple. It's going to be on iTunes and in stores, you know, out here. It got 19 songs on it, you know, and I mean, it's really good. It's a dope album, you know. We mixed it up because, you know, I want people to get familiar with scientific, you know. So a couple of songs that was released before, we actually bringing them back, because, you know, we kind of shuffled it a little bit, you know, give it a proper mix and mastering as well, because I was in the studio, you know, I happened to be in the studio with a top producer, you know, an engineer that I've worked with a lot of big names, you know, and I was actually there with him now, and I mean, once he listened to my record, you know, he was blown away, like, yo, are you seriously, you know, you're not from here, you're an African, because you don't sound like it, you know, your records are on some next level, you know, and it was a great feeling. And then, you know, we got that proper mix and mastering that we wanted for the records, and then, I mean, everything was ready, you know, we're ready to go. We just waiting on 1 or 2, and I show by next week, you know, everything is going to be out there in every store, you know, that people can go, you know, and get it from over there. And at the same time, too, I'm going to drop a single right after that, and then next year, beginning, I'm going to drop, you know, the new new project well. So, you know, I'm just working, I'm just recording, man.
Well, can you give us a taste of something? Just a little taste of what's to come?
Oh yeah, a lot. I mean, y'all definitely hear something like, bear witness to the greatest, like a river to cry. To kill this ego, I had to swallow my pride. Most drive about a Winston Couser, Saul Reynolds. Some lost their man move faster than Bruce Jenner. A till from the hood, don't know where to begin. To make a name, I started from the bench, Jared and Lynn. Gunning to be the best, I first did undermine me. Now I drop classic in history, rewind me. Come from a club, I don't need in Broadway. I sold my reap, that's my meaning of corporate. You calling my quotes from two advance for ya. Read between the lines, I'ma take a glance for ya.
Oh, they got by the rest. It's a little taste. They gotta get the rest. So, is it a expected date for the drop, or are you still planning?
Actually, we were supposed to drop it like this week, like today, but from what has happened, you know, we had a little bit of delay because we're waiting on certain things. So definitely next week, before Saturday is gonna be out.
So, can you tell us about the first single? Just give us a little information on it.
Okay, with the single that I'm gonna drop, it's called Ifere. You know, it is a Nigerian term. You know, like a Yoruba term. It means my love. You know, and I'm actually talking about my love. You know, like I met this female and everything. You know, and then you know I fell in love with her. I'm talking like how pretty she is, a sense of humor and all like that. You know, like she helped change my life. So, and I feature a Nigerian kid with that one. His name is Spicer. It's a dope record produced by History Baba. But apart from that, like with the 19 songs, you know, a lot of songs are there. I mean, I dropped a new single called Damonn that's really buzzing right now. You know, it's buzzing in Liberia. You know, I even perform it at the award. You know, me and DJ Fly, it's a dope record. You know, and people rocking with it. But like with me going to Minnesota, I'm actually going to shoot 2 videos out there. You know, my cousin H. Hardy going to shoot the videos for me. I'm shooting Ain't Got Time. The video is like a record I drop as well. And then I'm taking the ride, so I'm dropping. I'm actually shooting 2 videos, you know, to go with the project. And then once I get back to Liberia, I'm shooting other videos. Because like I want to shoot those other videos in Liberia, so like it looks more unique because of what I'm saying in the record. You know? So like people can actually, you know, see exactly where I'm coming from when I'm speaking from an African point of view.
I'm very proud of you. I'm very pleased with all that you've been doing. I know the last time we talked over like a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, you said what you was going to do when you got here, and you're actively doing it. So kudos to you, and much love and respect to you. And I really wish you well, and anything that we can continue to do to help you push your message, push your art, definitely stay in touch. And we're trying to get you here to the DMV, so keep hope. I'm gonna keep hope. We're gonna figure out how to make that work.
Okay, I appreciate it though. Thanks so much, man.
No problem.
Last time y'all showed me a lot of love, you know, and you know, I'm very grateful. Man. And I just want to send a few shout outs before I leave and everything.
Go ahead.
Like to people. I want to say a big one to my manager, Jonna Morris Kennedy. You know,
the hardest working lady in the system.
She's holding me down. You know, I love you to death. I love you to death, cousin. Shout out to my cousin Archie Wilson too, that holding me down. You know, trying to make this thing, you know, happy. You know, it's a win-win situation. The entire team, Scientific, I love you. You know, shout out to my pastor back home, Pastor Enoch Mafu, you know, 5 for 5 ministry. Every member out there, I've been praying for Scientific to succeed. I love y'all all, man. You know, and you know, my family, everybody that's been supporting, I love you. Shout out to H. Hardy, man. I see you in a minute, my man Joe Baby, and everybody out there, man. God bless y'all.
Thank you. Real quick before we go, let us know where we can contact you, where people can find you and follow your music, follow your story.
Okay, yeah, definitely. On Facebook, it's Scientific LIB, and then on Twitter at Scientific GH, on Instagram at Scientific LIB, and you can also get my stuff on SoundCloud at www.soundcloud.com/scientific4life, like scientific 4, the number 4, then LIFE.
Okay.
Yeah.
So don't forget to send us your stuff as it come out, and we're definitely pushing for you. And thank you again for taking time out and calling in and such. So I appreciate you, man, and take care. Be safe out there.
Okay, you too, man.
That was Mr. Scientific. We're gonna go to our last commercial break, and we're gonna come back with Valeria Fuentes when we come back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away at theshelterpetproject.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Be Exposed Radio.
Definitely not taking responsibility for other people's emotions and things that's going on, and owning up to who you are. I know that's what you were finishing on, so you can speak more on that, sister.
Yeah, just making sure, because at the end of the day, what happens to us, especially women, we're nurturers. So by life, we tend to want to, I call men projects, like fix-me-uppers, people that come with issues. And for some reason, people, we all have issues, but people who want you to help them through their issues, So we take on projects because we get to the point to where we're like, okay, I just want to have somebody, as opposed to the quality of the person that you're getting. And then we start to own all of their issues, and we start to feel bad because things are not progressing the way that we want it to, and that's not fair to us. So we can't own somebody else's stuff. If somebody's not ready when you meet them, that's not your fault. That's theirs. It's their loss. You see what I'm saying?
Hey, what's up? It's the man you all know and love, E. Digger, the host of the Charm City Direct Radio Show. Make sure you catch me and my crew every Saturday from 5 to 7 p.m. only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Hi, I'm LeVar Burton, and I'm proud to be a book person. How do I choose a book? Sometimes it's the cover, sometimes it's the title. I guess I'm pretty visual. If a book's really impressing me and the writing is really good, I will peek and see what the last paragraph is, because the endings of books should rock you. I am a book person, and if you're a book person too, read to a child and spark a lifetime of ambition. Join me at bookpeopleunite.org, because reading is fundamental. A public service announcement brought to you by Reading is Fundamental, Library of Congress, and the Ad Council.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
I was looking for work.
It's about breaking boundaries.
I'm gonna have to, because I was trying to find his information. But we're back here, our last segment here on the air. If you didn't hear it, we just finished talking to Mr. Scientific. He's out in Texas right now. He's just getting his frequent flyer miles on, just going around the country, just networking and doing work. And I spoke to him almost 2 years ago, And he said when he got here, he was going to be off and running, and that's what he's been doing. And we're trying to get him to come on down to the DMV and perform and get on the show and do some things. So look out for that. We're trying to do that, connect to being his manager now. Thank you, Geneva, for definitely connecting us again. But we have Miss Valeria. I love names because I'm horrible with names, and I hate when people mess mine up, so I try to practice it. So the question that I normally ask all my artists and all my guests really is, what advice would you give to your 17-year-old self? Not to prevent anything or change the course of time, but to kind of prepare and soften the blow a little bit.
I would first of all say, learn to say no.
Learn to say.
And
you must listen to the artist exchange, because that's a valuable lesson I constantly give out.
And also think about self-care. I think self-care is very important, and it's often not enough people practice it. Yeah, and also to not be overwhelmed. I guess being in high school, I always felt like I had very limited opportunities, so I had to take every single opportunity that was given to me. And that's gotten me places, but I think I could have done them more strategically. And so my advice would just be to really think about, like you said earlier, what do you want to invest your time in, where you can see your best self being, you know, where do you see yourself as an artist or designer, putting all your energy into something that will make you happy and also make other people happy.
That's a valuable lesson. How old are you now?
22.
That's a valuable lesson to learn, because normally in our 20s, we're doing everything that we think people want us to do. And we're not focusing on what we're supposed to be doing. Just like in our children years, our really young years, our teenage years, people want us to experience childhood. You gotta experience childhood. Well, a part of childhood is putting in the work, because we're on a 5-year, 10-year life cycle. So the decisions you make at 14, or for you at 12, you're now living the decisions that were made for you and that you made. So right now you're living. So if you studied, if you paid attention to your work, if you were taught financial literacy and responsibility, if you practice self-care, you're now actively living in those decisions. So what would then be hard for you if you had not gotten any of those things is probably easy. I don't know your story personally, but you're living in those decisions from 5 to 10 years ago. And a lot of people who don't, that's why the disparity between certain people, say in cities like Baltimore, is such a huge gap. Because if right now we're not giving children homework, we're cutting down, children have to go across town to go to school opposed to across the street like we all know, like we grew up being able to. So now they're living harder and they don't have all the resources. PE, enrichment, all those things are being taken out of the school, so there's no focus on education in terms of health and body and enrichment. So now 10 years later, I see it because it's in our city, but I don't feel connected to it. So I'm not a part of it. So then at 34, I'm just being introduced to the things that I really want to do. And this is my story, because I wasn't given all those utensils. I was blessed to be a part of a lot of projects and programs that gave me those things. But my friends who at some point, say in middle school, me and a lot of my friends split, and I can clearly see the resources that I got and they didn't get 10 years later, 20 years later, what that means and how that affects us. So being a social designer, it really does impact who we are, because we have to now force ourselves to want to go into that clinic or be healthy or vote or go to La Fuentes festival, or be a part of her brand, because now we have to go. It's a part of our the necessities that we have in life, and we're not realizing, knowing our culture and being healthy and voting and not smoking and so on and so forth, how essential they are to our daily lives and for the next 10 years. So now we're on another cycle. So right now I'm 4 years into my 30s. So now I am living for 44. And it sounds strange, but I have to make decisions. So if and when 44 gets here, I'm a lot more comfortable than I was when I turned 34 from being 24. And we got to start thinking about those things. What stuff looks like, the aesthetics, what it looks like from the outside means just as much as what it really is on the inside. So connecting those things. So in closing out today, what is a few things or a few lessons that you've gotten that you want to help other people get? And you know, people that may be following you or want to follow you.
Lessons in terms of being an artist or a person?
Just a person, an artist, a community activist now? I
guess, don't jump into things too quickly. Like, I think when I'm really passionate about something, I'm passionate and I dive in, like really dive in. And sometimes when you do that, sometimes you do that, you get like really overwhelmed, or like you get that sensation of drowning, you know. And I want people to avoid that, in terms of it's okay to push yourself, and I always tell people to challenge yourself, because when you're feeling too comfortable, there's something wrong. Because like, how do you expect change to happen if you're gonna keep doing what you're doing, you know, the same ways? So but don't push that so much that you feel like you're drowning, and I've been there way too many times, and I do not suggest that.
Purpose, planning, preparation.
Yeah,
those are things that I live by now, because like you said, you jump in. I'm an artist. I'm expected to be an artist. Let's be an artist. But I haven't thought about how much it's going to cost, what time it takes, what it's going to take time away from, what I have to. You have to be able to itemize all those things. And sometimes that may be a 6-month planning or a 6-day planning or 6 hours if you give yourself enough preparation. But prepare.
And I also learned a lot about myself in terms of how I work in a team. And I'm usually the visionary person. Like, I love like innovating, like coming up with new ideas, and like kind of just thinking outside the box. I need to work with people who are like, okay, let's take this one idea and carry it out. Like, I know I'm not good at that. I know I'm not. I need to work with people who are like that. Like,
so that's like making a note, a tally. So these are the things that I know I'm good at. These are the things I know I'm not good at. And then start finding those people that are best, that can work together, that can be a part of this team, that share your mission. And that's it sounds very easy to say. I know how hard it actually is, because it's actively looking for those people and testing what works and what doesn't work. But you have to be able to do that. And no is a powerful, powerful word. It's one of the most powerful words outside of yes.
And your best friends might not be these people, you know?
Your family may not be these people.
So you gotta find people that might not be your, you know, friends or your best friends, but they definitely will help you get somewhere, you know?
They don't look like you, they're not from where you from, they don't speak what you speak, but you have a common mission. So you gotta be able to, but that takes you being able to get out of your comfort zone, your bubble, to find those
people.
Great conversation. We're going to have to bring Miss Valeria back and talk more. I would love to work with you and figure out how we could work together.
Thank you.
But thank you to everybody that's been listening, that's been on the feed. We appreciate you being tuned in. So look forward to what we're doing. Don't forget the 18th of this month, actually first the 11th of this month, the Art of Hue being presented by we're working with Appreciate the Arts to bring on the Art of Hue. So definitely look for that. The flyers on both our Facebook pages as well as our Instagram page at the Artist Exchange. So look for that. And then the 18th of this month, we're doing our first Art Talks. And it's basically a panel discussion that we're going to be doing. The first one is going to be live on air. And we're bringing in some professionals. We want to help artists and entrepreneurs be developed. So artist development is a thing that's being taken out of the school system in terms of learning how to be an artist it's not being taught on the business level. So we know all the things that we have to do, but we don't know who we have to be in order to get those things done. So artist development is definitely a part of that strategy, and is definitely a part of what the Art Talks is, and that's being brought to you by the Artist Exchange. And we want to help you be the best artist, the best entrepreneur that you can possibly be. So if you've been doing this for 80 years versus you want to start doing it, you haven't even done the fundamentals, you have to come to this meeting, and that's going to be the 18th. We have 18 slots available. It's very limited in terms of us, and we already have a lot of people have already booked it, so we only have 18 more seats available. So definitely go to our Eventbrite page at Art Talks, and you'll be able to find it. Register. It's free to come. We have some snacks, some really professional people that are experts in their field coming out, so definitely come on out, and we'll post that again. So it's on all of our social media pages. Thank you, Valeria, for coming on. And that's been the Artist Exchange Radio Show. Look forward to talking to you more. If you missed any parts of these, go to either our website, www.bigexposedradio.com, or to either our Facebook pages or our social media pages at the Artist Exchange, and get the Facebook link or the YouTube link. Peace out.
Didn't get a chance to tune in last week? Well, here's what you missed on the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
Being a stage actor